Welcome to Part 4 of Legend of the Nuka Slugger. This series uses the Fallout Wasteland warfare game system to follow the exploits of the Nuka Slugger, a psychopathic wasteland denizen who loves nothing but baseball and Nuka-Cola. Part 4 begins on the outskirts of the settlement that was defended in Part 3. As the Slugger is departing, he's pulled aside by the leader of the settlement. On your way out, can you help solve a problem for me? You'll get your caps up front.
I like the sound of that. What's the problem?
Our recruitment beacon is broadcasting.
That doesn't sound like it's a problem.
The problem is, we're not broadcasting from it. Someone else is using it. We don't know who it is. The data's encrypted.
All right, so where do I come in?
I need you to destroy the beacon. If you can break it while it's broadcasting, there'll be a feedback effect and we can figure out how they're hijacking our tower.
So, let me get this straight. You're giving me cash up front to go smash something.
Yeah, but you've got to smash it fast.
Today is my favorite day.
So here's the setup for the scenario. A broken down red rocket that's a distance away from the settlement itself. It's a good idea not to draw folks immediately to your settlement, because you gotta vet them first. The beacon is perched on top of a storage tank. The Slugger has 8 turns to break it before the broadcast shuts down. It has 8 HP and 2 physical and energy armor. It's unaffected by radiation. Defending the beacon is a smattering of Institute forces. A Gen 1 synth equipped with an Institute laser pistol, and a pair of battered Gen 1 synths carrying batons. If you didn't remember from the previous 3 parts of this series, the Slugger uses the Veteran Raider unit card. Instead of using the normal Veteran Raider equipment, though, he has a custom loadout. He's got a baseball bat and the Big Leagues perk, which lets him re-roll 1 black die if it comes up blank. He's got a baseball grenade and a baseball cap, which ups his range from blue to black and gives him +2 bonus to hit. Each of the enemies set up blue distance away from the beacon. Throw a scatter token and place the enemy there. If they end up closer than red to each other, then reflip it and try again. The unbattered Gen 1 synth sets up to the south. The first battered Gen 1 synth sets up to the east. And the last one to the north. Hopefully by the end of this, all the synths are battered, if you know what I mean. The Slugger sets up in the west, planning to use the ruins of the red rocket as cover for his approach. And with the board set, we're ready to roll. The synths will wander randomly around until they're aware of the Slugger. For that to happen, they have to have unobstructed line of sight to him within 1 awareness range or get attacked. To start things out, the Slugger slinks through the rubble and into a nice, cozy spot. The first synth moves and still can't draw a line of sight. Nice positioning there. The second synth decides to climb a car for a better look. Seeing nothing, it clambers back down. The third one continues to wander. First of 8 turns down, and all is quiet. For the second turn, the Slugger rounds the corner, using the flexible movement rules. He briefly crosses the synth's line of sight, but is still out of awareness range, so he stays hidden. He could push up a little bit further, but opts to keep the corner of the red rocket as cover. That turns out to be a good decision, as the first synth moves up and would definitely have seen him otherwise. For its second move, it wanders further away. Synth number 3 idly wanders some more, but gets closer to the tank. Number 2 also wanders around, not getting too far from its original position. At the end of turn 2, we're a quarter of the way through the time available. Time to get a move on. The Slugger hustles to the base of the tank. Surprisingly not visible from Synth 1, or even Synth 3. That big tank is a great line of sight blocker. However, with time becoming more urgent, the Slugger abandons stealth and charges up the ladder, raising his bat high and setting up for some smashy smash next turn. This is definitely visible to Synth 3. And also Synth 2. The van is tall, but not so tall that it obscures the Slugger when he's that high up. The first synth to activate still hasn't seen the Slugger, but wanders back to just the right spot to see him. The Institute laser pistol has an impressive black range, but even that isn't quite enough to reach from the synth's current position. So it has to spend the rest of the turn moving up. Synth 3 activates next, and is able to get just barely to the ladder on the tank. Synth 2 also pushes up, but can't quite reach the slugger. Turn 3 ends, and now we're into the thick of things. To start turn 4, the slugger knocks 2 quick points of damage into the beacon. Then he whips around and drills a fastball grenade into Synth 3. Their only point of armor gets broken, so this drops them down pretty far. Synth 3 goes next, charges up, and takes a green die as its charge bonus. It rolls an astounding 4 damage hit, but the slugger is able to block 3 of those with armor and only ends up taking 1. Whew! The non-battered pistol-packing synth takes a shot, but the first one is a critical fail with an action point, which it can't use. Its second shot is a normal crit failure. Synth number 2 activates, but cannot get into melee range with the slugger due to how narrow the walkway is. It also can't prepare because they don't have the ability to do that, so it effectively wastes its activation, taking another step up. At the end of turn 4, halfway through the time limit, the beacon has only taken 2 of its 8 health. However, the battered Gen 1 synths are looking even more battered after eating a baseball grenade to the face. Starting off turn 5, the slugger swats Synth 3 off the ladder. The hit only does 1 damage, but with the only armor broken, it's enough to end that threat. I could have re-rolled the blank black die with the slugger's Big Leagues perk, but since it was a guaranteed KO, I didn't bother. The slugger wheels back around and drops another double damage hit onto the beacon. 4 of 8 down. Halfway there. Now that the way is free, Synth 2 charges up the ladder and takes a swing at the slugger, but can't connect. Synth 1 takes a shot, and ends up hitting the other synth instead of the slugger. It only does 1 point of damage, but that leaves Synth 2 with just 1 point left. The second shot connects, though. 3 damage, but 1 gets blocked by armor, so 2 goes into the slugger. It's the end of turn 5. Half of the beacon's health is gone and a synth's been dropped. It's not in the bag yet, but things are looking promising. Since it worked so well last time, the slugger tries to knock that last hit point off the synth in front of him. However, it ducks at just the right moment and his bat sails through empty space. Unhappy with that result, his second swing catches the synth's leg and sends it flying. The malfunctioning machinery fizzles and spurts as it topples off the ladder in a tangled heap. The remaining synth takes its shots. The first one is a miss. Perhaps it was distracted by its damaged companion. The second shot connects, but deals 2 damage and the slugger's armor blocks 3, so he's singed but unharmed. Turn 6 wraps up quickly with another synth down. Turning his attention to the objective, the slugger smacks another 2 damage into the beacon. 2 more, and that's the run batted in. His second swing is a narrow miss, but still a miss. The synth's first shot connects and breaks 2 armor, so the slugger's armor gets broken down to 1, and since he rolls a 2, the 1 damage gets through. The second shot is a wide miss, though. Rolling right into the final turn, with 2 damage left to do on the beacon, the slugger connects, but only gets 1 damage in. As the clock ticks down, he grips the bat tight, swings hard, and strikes out. His foot slips mid-swing, and the bat goes wide. The beeping that has been emanating from the beacon stops, and the control box switches its green light off and red light on. Whatever message was being sent made it out, and the settlement doesn't get any more clues to who's hijacking their system.
Well, at least I got paid up front,
shrugs the slugger. He hops down from the tank and proceeds to beat the bejesus out of the last synth before moving on. That's a wrap on part 4. I was not expecting this one to be a loss. 8 damage across 8 turns on a target with 2 armor seemed pretty doable, though maybe I should have ignored those synth batons to the back and stayed focused on the mission. Or rolled better. Oh well, what's done is done. I hope you've enjoyed the series so far. It's been a blast coming up with these scenarios, playing through them, and sharing the results. I have a few more scenarios like this one planned, so keep an eye out. New ones will be coming out soon.